Welcome back to the Sherry Sylvester Show. We are taping today at the statewide conference of the Texas Federation of Republican Women, which is being held in my hometown. So happily, my colleagues from the Texas Public Policy Foundation drove south on 35, which may have taken them a half a day, in order to be at this conference. The hostess of this conference is my friend, Kris Coons, who is the chair of the Bexar County Republican Party. Not always an easy job, but Kris was elected chair of the party in 2024. She's going to tell us a bit about that. I got to know her when she was president of the Bexar County Republican Women, the oldest Republican women group in Texas, maybe in the country. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But Kris, thanks for stopping by here for the Sherry Sylvester Show. Why did you decide to run for county chair? I mean, it's like standing up with a target on your back.
Well, Sherry, first, we're so happy you're here. We love TPPF being here with us. You know that. But yes, I have been a volunteer and a grassroots leader for many, many years, and decided that San Antonio, was just not going in the direction of the state. I mean, so our state leaders were doing all these amazing things and making things happen, but San Antonio just kept turning the other way. And so I thought, you know what? I think I can get in there, make a difference, turn us around, and get some people elected that I think will help get us in the right direction. And that's why I decided to do it. I jumped in and won the primary. How
many people in the primary? How was that?
There were 3 in the primary, myself and 2 men. And
so you beat 2 men.
I did. I beat 2 men, and they were very gracious losers, by the way,
not
too.
Not that we're into that sexist thing.
No. I mean, but they were very gracious about congratulating me. They were. But yes, I won it outright. However, the way that the system is set up right now, June is when I was supposed to take office, but really didn't start until July. Okay, and so that's kind of late in the year, as you can imagine. So we hit the ground running with 140 something days until the November 5th election,
which people may remember was the presidential election.
That's correct. Was the Trump election,
which is why the 1 month is a big deal.
So quite frankly, that first election for me to come into was really great, as you can imagine. Even for Bexar, which is a blue city. It definitely is blue. However, our analytics for that election were very good as far as making a move and changing things.
Well, say some more about that. How well did Trump do, or how badly did Trump lose in Bexar County?
Okay, well, President Trump took almost 44% of the vote, okay?
Wow.
Which, we were very, very excited about. And when you hear those numbers, you think, well, Kris, 44. No, that's a great marker considering the last presidential where we were in the 30s, kind of thing. So that's a big jump. So him being on the ticket obviously helped us down ballot, to help a lot of our candidates get elected, or get very close to winning. How about that? So we're feeling good. We moved on from that election to the municipals, where, Sherry, the party has never really participated. Yes, if there was a runoff or something like that,
city council you're talking about.
Correct. I beg your pardon. The city of San Antonio, COSA elections.
Right. Yes.
City council, mayor, that kind of thing. We had a candidate in every single race. I made sure of that this time, and we were in 4 runoffs.
So people had a choice.
Usually
the choice for city council in some of these urban areas is between crazy and crazier.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or no choice.
Or no choice.
In other words, they just walk in.
Right.
Which I'm not really a big believer in that either side. Quite frankly, I think competition is good.
Competition is good.
But definitely, getting those people in this race is what we really wanted to accomplish, and we did. And in fact, we had 3 great runoffs. We won District 10, as you know, and then District 9. These are city council seats, of course. Came very close in District 8. And District 1, as proud as I was of our candidate in that election, it's a 70-30 district for us. And so anyone, making above 30%, and she was at 38%. So obviously we gained ground in that area. Now, what we did as a party, though, for the first time ever, was we invested a lot of time and money in those races. We had a social media expert come in. We had an analytics person come in where we reviewed and studied every single race, and we knew who to reach out to specifically. Now, normally the campaigns do that, but the party wanted to jump in and help in any way we could. And I must tell you, again, those analytics for us in the municipal races were really fantastic. I mean, as a matter of fact, our mayoral candidate outperformed President Trump.
Well, it's interesting. We at TPPF, we are policy people. We're not political people.
Got it.
But I wanted to talk to you because I wanted to ask what kinds of policies in 2024 and in the election coming up, what are you talking about? I mean, the rest of the country is focused on immigration. Is that an issue still in San Antonio, or where ICE is not coming in here? We don't need them. I don't think. You tell me.
Well, I have to tell you, I am a huge proponent of. I believe that ICE is necessary, and yes, I'm not completely convinced that San Antonio is completely cleaned up yet. I'm not. We at one point were, importing 800 illegals a week. And so, we had those huge stations that, that everybody was, up in arms about, as we should have been. They were not humane places for these people to go. The whole process was not humane. And we were also paying for it as tax dollars. So I was completely, did not agree with any of that. When you're illegal,
and
you're
what
illegal.
did the voters think? Was that something that candidates talked about or no?
They did. I mean, the candidates did reach out. I mean, they talked about that really continually. But again, our messaging was a little tough because when you can't get on the air and you can't get the newspapers and you can't get print to do anything, to interview us or to print anything, that makes our job a little bit tougher. That's all. And we're working on that, by the way. We're working on that. But I will tell you, no, I think that with the new city council that has just come in, talking about policy for you and what they're trying to work on right now, we're most concerned. I believe our new mayor-elect is just has a very different idea.
Well, she's not elected anymore, isn't she? The mayor?
Oh, I beg your pardon. She is the mayor. I'm sorry. Yes, she is the mayor. Wait. Yes, she is. And but she, I think her job description is very different for her than what really her job description should be. Okay, so we're watching closely the things that she's trying to accomplish right now. She wants to, again, about policy for you. She's trying to break a lot of the rules and protocols that are in place right now at city level, and the council's not letting her get away with that, though.
One of the things that's really important in terms of local government, city government, is transparency, because that's the government that's closest to the people. So they need to be able to see what is going on.
Well, I can tell you this, it's taken her months to even get a staff. So you're right. So she's not speaking to anyone, talking to anyone until she comes out in public and kind of makes that announcement. And I think everybody's kind of in a little bit of shock when she speaks. But I hope for her sake that she has her team in place, and for the city, to perform and do better. That she has those people lined up right now. But as of a month and a half ago, she didn't even have a full staff.
I think conservatives have, and certainly President Trump, have different philosophies about how to deal with urban areas. My idea, and I live in San Antonio, live in the city of San Antonio, but I think that we should just let the Democrats go ahead and run them down, because I've seen segments of the population that vote Republican because they are protesting what's going on in the big Democrat cities.
Right.
And San Antonio is the sixth largest city in the country? It's not like it's a little backwater city. It's a big city.
You're right.
It's a big city.
Actually, seventh, just to let you know.
Seventh, okay.
But I mean, and second largest population now in the state.
Oh, right.
In the state. So I wanted to make sure I let you know that too.
Good
so
to
you're
know.
Right, Well, I guess in keeping with that, you're right. We Our opinions are going to matter, when we vote. You know that. And I know that's a big part of TPPF's. People getting out to affect change in policies, that is our biggest struggle right now, Sherry. We have to get the people to the polls. And actually, both sides, just so you know, we have to get the people to the
like
polls.
10% of the people vote in city elections usually.
That's another marker I want to share with you in this last election. Usually, and as a whole, I mean, both sides, everybody, it's 7 to 11% for municipals, right?
Right.
In this election, we had almost 18% show up to vote. That is a huge jump in political analytics. Huge. So people were definitely engaged in this race that we had. And so we were very, very happy about that. And as I said, we had some great numbers. And we truly feel like next election, and probably the next election, 2 more elections in San Antonio, I think you're going to see substantial changes in the elected officials.
But you mentioned something that I wanted to ask you about, and it's very hard to get good information to people. I mean, Texas Public Policy Foundation, we've got buildings full of researchers. I work around some of the smartest people in the country.
Love that.
But how do you get that out? As you say, the media, they have a little bias.
They do.
I, as a former employee of the San Antonio Express News, I can say, leans a little to the other side.
You know, great question, because I'll tell you, part of our plan is, so I'm trying to cultivate those relationships, with a huge, I've sent out probably 10 to 12 press releases, trying to at least educate them to hopefully get it out. We also, most of ours is just recognizing the target audiences first that we need to hit, okay?
Sure.
And so we have jumped into...
And talk about those targets in non-political ways. Like,
okay.
Are they old people? Are they young people?
Well, all great questions. We literally, when we had our analytics expert, and most of it, it's kind of commonsensical, but when you see it in black and white, it's amazing to me. Absolutely. It's the senior voter. Okay. So, again, you're talking both sides. You said senior voter.
Boomers,
okay.
Baby boomers.
Ready?
We vote.
In this election, women. So all this stuff you hear about women not voting, that's not the case for Bexar County, just so you know. Women outvote men, not quite 2 to 1, but in a big number. Okay. A big number. So we feel like our opportunity is 18 to 34. That's what we're really trying to address. That's why we're working with the universities now. We're working through, obviously Turning Point right now is a big, as you know, big
organizing
effort right now.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of our goal, you're right, to get out as much information and even try to work with some of the media outlets and the reporters to at least let them know that we're trying to get that information to everybody. And I must tell you, a couple are trying to get it out there for us, but you're right, not as a whole.
Now, San Antonio, Bexar County, majority minority for 350 years.
Yeah.
So what about Hispanic voters? Are we seeing that shift that we're seeing in South Texas?
I'm sorry, that is absolutely part of those analytics. In fact, with the presidential last November, right? And I'm sure that's why they were quite nervous. There was a huge shift, of the swing voter, that was coming to a more conservative side. And and that has continued. That continued in the municipals. And I actually think that the midterms are going to show even a little bit more of a swing, probably not down ballot all the way. I'm just saying, but you're going to see a lot of, I think a lot of the primary voters, I think even for this, are going to switch over to another side.
That would be that would be terrific.
Yeah.
I would encourage you, Kris, because one of your strengths, clearly, and I think why you are the chair in Bexar County and one of the smartest county chairs we've got certainly in our urban districts, is your strong personal skills. And just keep pushing that media. Start those, get cell phone numbers, start little text things. Do you see this? When you think about this, just get yourself into conversations, because it's very hard not to like you.
Oh, you're so great. Well,
I
appreciate that.
No,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
It's really personal. I work with a bunch of young social justice warrior reporters.
Right.
And I can see they just have such a hard time with everything I say, but you just love them.
Got to keep doing it,
you
right?
You just keep loving on them.
Sherry, and thank you. That is a great idea. I'm trying to do it actually the first 8 or 9 months in office. was somewhat feeling it out. You know how you do, and trying to get to know them as well. And as you know, because they're not always as friendly, as friendly to us, obviously. And so I was trying to feel that out a little bit. As I said, though, there are a couple of reporters that I think have been fair, But you're right. I will make a point to reach out more to them and, and try to engage and get them to hear what our plans are to make things better for everybody.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm the chair of our party, but I'm just saying to make it better for everyone. So.
Well, and people want a conversation. I think a lot of us are really tired of the canned news on both sides. You turn on, everybody agrees with you, or you turn to the other side and you disagree with them. I think people are tired of that, and the reporters are going to catch on to that. I want to ask you a policy question about San Antonio. How do you deal, and this is one where TPPF would probably be split.
Okay.
So the big thing on the ballot is the Spurs Stadium, right? So there's not really a conservative position there, or there's two. Some people would say, no, we don't want taxpayer dollars spent on any of this. We don't want any of you in there. If the Spurs want to build a stadium, let them build their own stadium. Another said, and we know in the party would probably say, this isn't exactly the kind of investment that we need to make. So what do you do as a leader on an issue like that? Does everybody vote and go, we're going to this way or that way?
Well, and here's the thing, you're right. As the leader of Bexar County Republican Party,
right.
Number one, my first job is actually to support my two representatives that are on the city council.
Right.
Okay? They happen to be pro, Prop A and B.
Okay.
All right. They've been
that vocal.
Explain
what that is.
Yes.
To people.
Okay. So Proposition A is basically taking care of the rodeo, Freeman Coliseum, and taking over the Frost Center for major events and privately and with other equities, I guess, taking over that area to make it a better, more wonderful place for people to come and do their events, okay?
Right.
It should be a win-win.
Sure.
Prop B, though, however, is for the new arena, okay, for the Spurs, which will be located centrally downtown, and they have major plans to present or have other things around it to, again, encourage economic development and businesses and to promote the businesses that are existing downtown. So when you hear it said like that, it all sounds great, doesn't it? It sounds wonderful. However,
not to our tax and policy team, I can tell you.
Well, and that's where the economics come in. So I believe that the messaging actually on both sides has not been, of this issue, has not been very clear. Okay. When you get when you get a former Spur that says how great it should be, of course we're going to love that. You know what I mean? But again, that doesn't answer the question. I wish that either team had come out and said it will not be funded, with public funds. It is not going to happen. This is not what's going to happen. That would have resonated. Okay. But no one, they put it somewhat in the conversations, but no one has come out. I think I'm kind of like that keep it simple kind of girl, ABC it, I think that would have resonated with the audience a little bit more. And not only that, we started late. We started late with the messaging. Okay. So my job, to go back to what you said, this is how I'm handling it. I'm putting out as much information, pro and con, for our voters to make an educated decision. We are not, as a party, coming out and saying you should do this and you should do that. I have given them a snapshot of pros and cons for the 17 Texas constitutional amendments also to go through, to look at kind of when you read them, how they read, even the props too, how they read, a simple explanation of exactly what they are, okay? And here's a pro and here's a con. And you do your research and make up your mind. So if you're asking me, that's what we're doing from the party. So that's it.
So what is the biggest challenge you face in terms of the national image of the party? Like if you were sitting down with President Trump and Melania, what would your recommendation be?
Well, I've got to tell you something. I am so proud of the two of them. So there's not a lot of additional things I would say. No, I know, but I wanted to let you know. But I'll tell you, here's what I would say. one of my biggest challenges in Bexar County is I'm trying to unite my party. So there's still a little bit of division about, what some consider to be a true Republican and not a true Republican kind of thing, right? I love all Republicans, by the way. I love them all. So, but I would say to him, if he could continue his messaging, it would be that, leave out some of those negative acronyms, just pump in about if we don't stick together as a party, right? We're going to lose some of these important cities and some of these important areas that we need to take back, and put back in order. So if I could even think of advising the president and our lovely first lady, that would be it, And the other thing would be, I would love to see him. In fact, he made a joke. It was so funny about how Charlie Kirk called him, and said, "We need you over here in Arizona." And he's like, "Charlie, I'm the president. I can't just hop up and come, But I mean, that would be something I would say. The president's message resonates with everyone. That if he were out a little bit more right now, and I know, listen, the things that he is doing for this country right now, I don't think anyone has ever seen anything like it.
Yeah,
agree or disagree.
World peace, big deal.
I mean, supporting our Israeli allies. My goodness, peace in the Middle East. I mean, as they say down here, who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it, right? It's just, and the border closing immediately, and I mean, all of those things that he was elected to do. So again, my message though would be, if he and I were sitting here for a cup of coffee, I'd say, Mr. President, talk more about unity. Let's get it done, as a party, number one, and hopefully as a country, number two,
So you heard it right there from the Bexar County Republican chairman. And I say a lot of times, Kris, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, but what we have in Bexar County is what I sometimes call fiesta politics.
Right.
When you go up and campaign, as I've done a lot of statewides, if you campaign in Dallas, you campaign in Houston, Fort Worth, they're pretty, you got your Republican groups and you got your Democrat groups. We got a lot of groups that are bipartisan, and I think it's because once you party with people for 18 days during Fiesta, you're not going to then suddenly split apart and demonize them as quickly. So
it's true, and I know you're finishing up here, but I want to let you know, I think you're right. And that's why I'm thinking we're seeing all these swing voters for us. It's predominantly leadership that the divisive issue is with on the other side for me.
Right.
It's not our San Antonians that we have the wonderful conversation with. I mean, I think once we talk about all the commonalities,
right,
the things that we have in common, we really come together on most issues, It's just a matter, number one, of getting them to vote, and having that conversation.
Right, so. Yes. We've been here in San Antonio a very long time. This is not our first rodeo by any means, or even our 100th rodeo. Kris, thanks so much for stopping by and joining me on the Sherry Sylvester Show.
Sherry, wonderful. Just thank you for having me.
And thank all of you for listening. You can subscribe to the Sherry Sylvester Show on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also sign up for my newsletter, Ninth in Congress, which gets you winners and losers. You can do that. There's a bunch of ways to do it, but you can go to the Texas Policy website, www.texaspolicy.com/winners and losers. Thanks so much. See you next time.